Usually we do 2 readings. Tonight we're just going to do one. And it's part of Yogananda's discussion on angels, and it encompasses the gospel message. Scriptures of all religions bear testimony to the intercession of divine beings between man and God. References to angels are common in the biblical narrative of the life of Jesus. His birth was foretold to Mary by an angel of God. Angels heralded his nativity. He was protected from the death decree of King Herod by an angel's warning to Joseph. When Jesus fasted for 40 days in the wilderness, the angels came and ministered unto him. When Jesus prayed in the Garden of Gethsemane before his arrest and crucifixion, he prayed, Father, that thou be willing, remove this cup from me. There appeared an angel unto him from heaven to strengthen him. And when he was taken into custody by soldiers sent to arrest him, he declared, Thinkest thou that I cannot now pray to my Father, and he would send me and give me 12 legions of angels? And then he carries the conversation and he talks about guidance, and horoscopes tend to influence and paralyze the free choice of man's inherent divine will to conquer. For guidance and support, it is far better to appeal to God and his angelic agents. Contact with angels or devas or shining ones, by attuning consciousness to these higher forces in meditation, elevates man, who may thus avoid the fruitification of evil karma. Misfortune can be greatly lessened, while liberating effects of good actions are enhanced. Man and his astral preceptors, gurus, patrons, saints, and angels, in higher realms, by mutual communion, can find great good and control destiny. Control destiny. Eventually, by constant contact with spiritual forces, the devotee comes into harmony with the Supreme Creator, organizer of lower and higher beings. So let's just start with the prayer. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, Friend, Beloved God, Sadguru Paramahansaji Yogananda, Lord Jesus Christ, and all the beautiful angels gathered tonight in this place, both in the body and in the spirit. Give us light tonight. Radiant, luminous light. So that our spirits can be lightened. So that our mind can be purified to see. So that our will can be strengthened with the fire of love. And our hearts warm and open. Amen. I've been waiting to give this talk for a long time tonight. And for some reason I felt right to give it tonight, to talk about the angels. Now when I'm talking about the angels, you can apply what I'm saying to gurus, but I just want to talk about it in the context of angels tonight. But I want you to do something. More than you typically do while I'm talking, I want you to bring your energy up. Keep it up in the heart and in the third eye and in the crown chakra. Angels are real. And when I tell you there are angels here with us tonight, it's not hyperbole. It's not a metaphor. It's not an analogy. It's literally true. And by keeping our energy high and pure and settled, we can more easily commune with them and sense and feel their presence. So as I talk tonight, just keep your energy up. One of my favorite lines is that what is true below is true above, and what is true above is true below. That life here in the human family in some way mirrors the life in the heavenly family, and the life in the heavenly family mirrors the life in the human family. And this is a good way to understand why angels make sense. When a child is born, the goal of that child being born in part is to grow and mature and to reach adulthood. Does any child being born do it by themselves? No. They're obviously born into a family. They have a father and mother. They have caretakers who protect them, guide them, feed them, and push them along the path to adulthood until they can stand on their own 2 feet. That's how it's organized here. What's here below reflects what's here above. When we're born, we're not just born to live a physical life, to reach adulthood. That's part of it. We're also born to reach Godhood. We're born to become saints. We're born to become God-realized. We're born to be liberated. And just like we don't do it physically on our own by ourselves, we don't do it in the spiritual realm by ourselves. One of the most powerful lines in the infancy narratives of Jesus' birth is when the angel says that you shall call him Emmanuel, God with us. That's what Christmas celebrates. That's what Christmas brings into time, into space, and into creation, the very presence of God. And one of the ways that that happens is God's angels mediate God's presence. And God's angels work with our spirits, they work with our souls, they work with our hearts to evolve us to a higher level. And just for a moment, think about it in terms of Christian theology, which also reflects what Yogananda taught about Satchidananda and the Hindu tradition. At the very core of the divine head, there is family, there is relationship, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And the Spirit is really the Divine Mother's presence. So the very core of reality is relationship. Human relationships, relationships with spiritual beings and us as spiritual beings, and relationship in the very center of God's beingness. It's all relationship. So the angels are given to us as fathers and mothers to carry us along and to move us into spiritual adulthood, into our divinization. Now, for some of you that are doubters, let me just throw this out to you from science. String theory, which is the best physics theory to explain everything, says that there are actually multiple dimensions of reality. Our universe, our time, space, physicality, matter, continuum is just one dimension of many other dimensions. And why would we be so arrogant to think that we're the only sentient beings? There are so many dimensions to God's creation. It's infinity minus one, and every level of dimension has sentient beings that work with us. All the scriptures of the world, Jewish scriptures, Christian scriptures, Hindu scriptures, Buddhist scriptures, talk about saints. Are they all wrong? How arrogant to think that they're wrong and we know better. And one last piece, and I'll get into the reading. Probably about 23 years ago, I once saw an angel. I feel the sense of it. I saw an angel. I'd been working with a couple in marriage counseling, and we weren't talking about God. It wasn't a religious context. And there had been a lot of wounds, and I had kind of given up on that. And all of a sudden, I don't remember what was the catalyst, but all of a sudden, there was this incredible breakthrough. And their hearts just opened, and they wept together. You could feel the love. I mean, it was palpable. And just at that instant, behind them, above them, I don't know if it was 5 seconds or 10 seconds, there was a big angel. That angel was part of that breakthrough into love. was part of the healing. They're still together to this day. Angels are real. So let's talk about how they work. I want to make this very practical. First of all, and I'll quote Yogananda said, well, let me just quote Jesus, and it's also in the Jewish scriptures, Psalm 91. Each one of us has a guardian angel, assigned to us at the moment our soul came into being. And two things about that. Our guardian angels love us. They love us. They care about us. They're like a mother, nurturing us into our spiritual realization. And they stay with us until the very end, until we don't need them anymore. Until we're ready to be somebody's guardian angel, so to speak. So I want to make this practical, high, but practical all at the same time. So there's 5 essential things that the guardian angel does for us. The guru does the same thing, but I want to just talk about it tonight in terms of guardian angels. And I'm going to paraphrase the words of a Christian mystic, because I think he captures it perfectly. The guardian angel guards memory, the continuity of the great past and the present, which is the preparation for the great future. It is the guardian angel who takes care that there is a connection between the great yesterday, today, and tomorrow of the human soul. He is a personal memento with regard to the eternal mission of the soul in the cosmic symphony. So let me break that down. Each one of us, when our soul came into being, and this is how much God thinks of us, each one of us was given an eternal mission that is unique to us. Each one of us has a purpose that is unique to us, that is one of the strands of the evolution of the human race and of creation. Never doubt for 1 second that you don't matter. You matter times infinity. Your life makes a difference. Your soul has an eternal purpose. You are the very image and likeness of God. You radiate light. You make a difference. You matter. You are the bridge between heaven and earth, between creator and creation. The problem is that we all forget. Part of what the angel does is she helps us to remember. Let me share a personal experience I had. This was before 9/11, it was a long time ago, before there was an Assisi Institute. And at the time, I didn't really even believe in reincarnation. A long time ago. And I had my first trip to Assisi, Italy. And I made my way down to the Chapel of San Damiano, which for me is the best place in the whole world, right next to my wife. And it's where Jesus spoke to Francis on the cross. And I loved it there, but there were a lot of people coming in and out, and there's an olive grove around it, so I went to meditate in the olive grove. And 2 things happened. One was, I had the deepest meditation I ever had in my life up to that point. Then I fell asleep. 20 minutes, half an hour on the ground in the olive grove. And then when I woke up, it was the most uncanny thing. And again, I didn't even believe in reincarnation. I didn't want to believe in it. Who wants to come back? But 2 things hit me. I had lived in Assisi before. Assisi was my spiritual home. The earth felt like home. And my mother in this life was my mother in that life. It just descended. It came to me. Now, step back and look at the greater picture. I think that was my guardian angel. Connecting the past, bring it into the present, and the future. Craig, you're a Franciscan at heart. Craig, you're a bhakti yogi at heart. You're a lover of God in the Franciscan and yoga tradition. Remember your Franciscan genes. Deepen your In the present, now deepen your devotion to Francis. Past, present. 2016, this is the Assisi Institute. Do you see? The angel gave me a glimpse of the past, grounded me in the present, and directed me to this. That's what our angels do when we listen. They remind us of our eternal mission. You have an eternal mission. It all fits together. And whatever's undone in this life, I'll pick it up in the next life. And it'll continue, and it'll continue. That's the first thing the angel does. Second thing that the angel does, the guardian angel cherishes the endeavor, quest, and aspiration of the soul. This means to say that she fills in the breaks in the psychic functional system and makes up for its failings. The guardian angel never touches on man's free will, never violates his free will, and resigns himself or herself to await the decision or choice made in the inviolable sanctuary of the free will, in order to lend his assistance immediately if it is just, or to remain a passive observer reduced to prayer if it is not. So what does that mean? Sometimes it's very hard to carry out our missions, isn't it? Sometimes our missions are way above our natural capacities to handle. There are many times I say I can't. And it's not anything to do with self-esteem. The mission's over my head. But when we turn that I can't into a prayer, and we say help, the angel strengthens us, just like a parent would strengthen a child. Just like a parent could say, you can do it, I'm with you, I will help you, I will walk with you, together we will get this done. The angel says, I'm with you, I will strengthen you, I will make up for your weaknesses, I will help you to endure. And the more we ask for help and the more we aspire, the more able they are to help. I've told some of these stories before, but they're so poignant. Most of you know that Vicky's son has a severe spinal cord injury. He's paralyzed from the shoulders down. It happened when he was 14. 2 weeks before it happened, Vicky had a dream. An angel appeared to her in the dream. As clear as I'm seeing you. And the angel gave her a scripture quote from Luke's gospel to read. Vicky opened it up. And this is what the passage was. Knock and the door shall be opened. Seek and you shall find. Ask and it shall be given to you. She closed and thought, oh, that's interesting. 2 weeks later, when her son had this injury, she remembered that. And she needed tremendous strength and tremendous love and tremendous endurance. She asked, and it was given to her. And it was the angel who reminded her that she needed to ask. We never walk alone. Never. Third thing the angel does. Just as the guardian angel is sometimes constrained not to participate in the soul's activity when we're doing the wrong things, this activity not being in accord with the soul's divine image, so the angel can also take a greater part in human activity than usual. Then the angel descends from the point of his or her ordinary post, they kind of are up here in the crown chakra, into the domain of human activity. The angel visits the human being. I'm willing to bet that many of you have had visitations and you don't even know it, number one. I know some of your stories. Some of you should be dead right now. Right, David Thomas? Okay. The Jehovah Nanda and your angel is keeping you alive. I mean that quite literally. But I want to share another story that maybe I've shared before, but I want you to hear it in this context. When Vicky's son severed his spinal cord, paradoxically, he was making an angel in the snow. He fell face forward and severed his spinal cord. He was paralyzed. His face was in the snow. He could not breathe. And Evan is the most logical, sane person that I know. The last thing he remembers before he went unconscious, he couldn't breathe, and then two hands held his head out of the snow so he could breathe. Otherwise he would have died. When the situation calls for it, the angels make themselves known in very, very literal ways. They're for real. Can't you kind of feel it right now? See, just talking about them, being open to them, creates the conscious contact. Fourth point. But what the guardian angel does unceasingly is to protect the human being. He warns, informs, and helps to appreciate. Now, let me go back into history a little bit. In the Garden of Eden, and again, it's not to be read as a science or historical manual, but it's true at a certain level. Before the fall of Adam and Eve, before the fall of their consciousness into ignorance, they were absolutely clairvoyant. That doesn't mean that they opened up a psychic shop on Main Street. What that means is they were able to directly plug into the mind of God. And everything that they needed to know when they needed to know it was there. Because our consciousness has become dense, fallen consciousness, we've lost more or less that capacity for clairvoyance, clear seeing. So a lot of times when something doesn't feel right to you, and you say, no, I couldn't do that. That's your angel saying, listen, I'm channeling the divine mind for you. Don't do that. A lot of times when you get a hunch to do something right, and it is right, that's the angel channeling the divine mind, the divine intelligence to guide you. And the more we listen and trust, the more information comes, and the more adept we are at hearing it. Let me connect this to this building. This was a long time ago when we were on Blossom Road. And remember we started out in the CC room. It was a fairly small room, and then we outgrew it, and we needed a bigger space. And I remember we looked at a few places, nothing clicked. And I was meditating one morning, and I remember the thought just fell down from the heavens is what it was like. And the thought was, talk to Frank. Now, Frank owned the building that we were in. And so I talked to Frank. I said, Frank, I know you don't have any space here, but if you hear about some openings in some other building, just let us know. Our temple is expanding. We need a bigger space. And he said, well, I got a space in the building right here for you. Good. Then we start to outgrow that space, and we say to ourselves, it's time to buy a new building. We looked at a couple places, nothing worked. Out of the blue, I get a call from Frank. This was his message on my answering machine. Craig, I got a building, no money down, I'll hold the mortgage. Perfect for your temple. Frank may not have made that call to me if I didn't listen to the angel 6 years earlier. I listened to the angel, I approached Frank, I told him what our need was, I planted a seed, and when this building came up, he thought of us. Fifth point, probably the most important point. The angel defends. The nature of angelic love is revealed here. Guardian angels remain above their proteges. This will make sense, stay with me. This means to say that they screen them from divine justice. Let me say what that means. Divine justice is the law of karma. Whatever we sow, we reap. It's not personal. God's not mad at us. It's just how it's set up. Whatever we sow, we reap. You sow bad seeds, you're going to get thorns. You sow good seeds, you're going to get beautiful fruit. We reap whatever we sow. That's the law of karma. That's what the Catholic Church refers to when they talk about divine justice. It's just how things are set up. And this is how it works for all of us. When I say that the guardian angel defends, what does that mean? Think about this metaphorically but literally both. The angel hovers above us. Their wings spread over us. They protect us from our karma. They mitigate our karma. They soften its effects. And sometimes they absorb it into themselves and they suffer for us. They experience the thorns for us. Feel like a mother standing over us, protecting us. That's their grace. That's the greatest gift they give us. They protect us from ourselves and our worst decisions. All right, let's just take a few minutes to make this all very practical. In one of the gospel passages, when Jesus was in the garden, or when he was in the desert being tempted, you got to get the sequence because it's very interesting and it really reveals how angels work and how we open ourselves. If you remember, Jesus was tempted by the devil. And finally, after the third temptation, he said, "Enough, be gone, Satan." He wrestled with him, he had to wrestle with him, but then he made his final, "Satan, be gone." Then the angels came and ministered unto him. All right, so what does that mean for us? If we allow ourselves to be caught up in the drama and trauma of life, we can't sense or feel the angel's presence. The angels live in rarefied air. And so our spirits have to be rarefied. One of the reasons why I don't let us talk about politics at the Assisi Institute is that would unrarefy the air pretty intensely. And there would be no inspiration coming our way. So we have to have a modicum of stillness, peace, and silence, calmness, because they dwell in rarefied air. That's why we don't, other than religious services, we don't allow talking in this temple. We want to keep the air rarefied so that light can descend. And then I want to just have some quotes from Pope Francis about guardian angels. He's such a simple but beautiful man. He said recently in a talk, "We have angels who guard us. Do not rebel, follow their advice," he says. The belief in angels is not just imagination, but it's truth. Then he gives us these questions. Ask yourself, how is my relationship with my angel? Do I listen to her? Do I say good morning? Do I tell the angel to guard me when I sleep? Do I speak to the angel? Do I ask advice? You know, sometimes we're so busy trying to go into the absolute transcendent, non-dual presence, which is good. But we also realize we live on planet Earth, which is creation, which is duality. So whether it's the guru, whether it's the angel, the same rules that apply to human relationships apply to them. Talk to them. Ask for help. This morning, I didn't have my usual 2 hours to meditate. I only had about an hour and 10 minutes. And I knew I needed to get to a place of peace, deep peace, in order to talk about this tonight. I knew I didn't have time to do 108 kriyas and yada, yada, yada. So I did a few kriyas, and I just started to say to Yogananda, Jesus, and my guardian angel, help me. I need to feel your presence. I need your love. I need your guidance. I love you. Give me your love. And I just kept on from my heart. And my heart opened. So be human with the guru, be human with the angels. We have to break open our hearts and be vulnerable and let them in. And the more you do it, the more real they become. And they guide every part of your life. The last thing I'll say, because there's so much anxiety in the air, our country has a guardian angel. Every country in the world has an angel. I'm not saying we're not going to go through trials and tribulations, but we got an angel. Whatever does or doesn't happen in the next 4 years, ultimately it's going to be okay. Our country has a wonderful angel, and our country has an eternal mission. Doesn't mean we're perfect, doesn't mean we're infallible. We're going to be okay. I'll close with this. What did the angels say that first Christmas night? Because they're saying it to us today. Peace on earth, goodwill towards everyone. Peace on earth, goodwill towards everyone. Peace on earth,